So we're going to be doing 5 spooky tutorials on how to add that extra spooky edge to your video. We're going to be talking about the Bilbo Jump Scare. What's the Bilbo Jump Scare, you ask? Ha! Alright, we're in Vegas Pro 17. You can do this with most versions of Vegas, but we've got the Bilbo Jump Scare kind of raw footage right here, and you can see this is just no effect added. This is just where I kind of yell at the camera and reach out towards it. And so that's the first thing you need, is just a source clip where you're actually doing something suddenly scary. Mine's kind of ruined by the fact that I announce it. I'm like, I'm going to do something suddenly scary. Almost. Like, you pretty much know it's coming. And then I do it. So it's not as freaky as it could be. But in your effect, like they do in Lord of the Rings, Bilbo is talking to Frodo. It's a friendly conversation. And then suddenly, it's not friendly anymore. For a split second, he reaches out and grabs towards Bilbo, and his eyes get white, and his teeth get fangy, and he kind of recedes back away as he comes back into his right mind again. And it's a very, very chilling effect in Lord of the Rings, and it comes out of nowhere, and it really makes everyone jump, and it's wonderful. One of the things that we're going to do is try and emulate that, but emulate that on a poor man's budget. So in Lord of the Rings, when they do it in Lord of the Rings, they have... Also, it's a team of people, right? And it's also, they create an entire like dummy of Ghost Bilbo and like a digital composite, and they go through and they actually do like a triple composite of real Bilbo, fake Bilbo, and computer Bilbo, and they just make this really like believable looking monster that he kind of morphs into, and then he kind of morphs back into it. What we're going to do is copy the basics of that effect without necessarily spending all the time and money and making a dummy and compositing the dummy of the scary dummy of me with the real dummy of me. That's the real way to do it. But we're going to do the poor man's way, the poor man's Bilbo effect. So there's a moment here where I start reaching out. I don't want it to be the first moment I kind of reach out. I want to start here, the second moment where I reach out. I want to make a cut right there. And here I kind of start receding. So let's see, there's a moment where I kind of start receding. So right before that, I want to cut again, because this part right here, I want to open event pan crop. This is the first thing we got to do is doctor this up to start showing the effect. Right? So it's real soft over here, the volume is. Then it gets real loud all of a sudden, and that's where the effect's going to happen. If it doesn't get really loud all of a sudden, you're not going to have as much of an effective jump scare. Here, too, we want to suddenly zoom in just a little bit. So I'm going to grab the event pan crop of the cut clip we just cut. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, just to where it kind of is a little bit closer, and it feels like my reach is a little bit too impossibly fast. So, let's see, let's arrow through it. Kind of subtle, that jump. Let's do it just a little bit more. Okay, we created a keyframe. So be careful about that. Over here, I do this all the time. If this is selected, you're not going to be doing the whole clip. You're going to be doing wherever the keyframe is. So since I had this previously selected, the sync cursor, it went ahead and did that. So this is as much as I wanted to zoom in on this keyframe right here. And so I'm going to delete this first keyframe and slide this one to the front here. Now this will be the full zoom in. So let's go ahead and arrow through. There we go. That's better. So the sudden jump is fine, but one frame back. See how when you zoom in enough, you can kind of jump by frame with the arrow keys? One frame back, I'm going to hit S and cut again. And then on this one, I'm going to do only partial zoom in. Now, we don't want, it's going to automatically fade your volume. Go ahead and get rid of that. That's because you're not actually, it's not a real cut. And so now you have a much more subtle jump. Be sure when you event pan crop, when you're cropping your footage, you just grab the corner and zoom in, and you zoom in at the same angle and rate. I'm zooming in evenly all around the frame, as opposed to zooming into the corner. Whatever you do, make sure you do it to the same. You're not jumping around the screen like the camera's shaking or something. That might make the viewer sick if it's not done right. So there's a little bit more subtle of a jump in. And now we're going to make the jump out a little bit more subtle. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these fades there that Vegas created. And then here we are going to do some keyframing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this event pan crop of the second part of it. And I know about, as we have the cursor sync, so the cursor sync is on, and I want it on this time, right here, this button. And so as I move this cursor, the cursor on the timeline moves too. There's a moment where I kind of start leaning back. At that point, I actually want the crop to be fully returned back to normal. So it's already on a normal crop, right? It's fully around the frame. So I'm going to hit create keyframe, and then I'm going to go back to this one, and I'm going to, again, it's okay if it's not exactly what your keyframe was beforehand. It did stutter back a little bit. Here's what we can do. We can right-click this, hit copy, right-click this, and hit paste event attributes. And that's going to paste the crop to the same exact crop to this one. And now we can go in and pick the moment where we want it to be fully faded back out. And then just hit default up here in the presets, and it'll go ahead and hit back to no cropping in. And now we can right click this and hit smooth. So now we've created an animation where this crop will see it here. It'll slowly come back out as if the camera's moving away. So now we can watch this again. Much better, much better. So that is the basics of the first part of the jump scare. It's the sudden loudness and the sudden zoom in with the sudden reach and just being sudden about it all and exaggerating that suddenness. And so that suddenness is now exaggerated. And now what we can do is we can right click this track and hit insert video track. We need a track above it. We will in a second. And then this part right here, through the rah, where I'm making the noise. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 frames in there. I'm going to grab those 8 frames, and then I'm going to go to File, Render As, and I'm going to render these as images because we're actually going to draw on this thing to create the exaggerated effect here. So we need to grab the image sequence. What we can do here is we can grab the image sequence and we can go to TIFF or JPEG, but TIFF is really your compressionless save. So save it as a TIFF if you don't want to lose any. Just go ahead and save it as a TIFF, and you won't get any compression artifacts or anything as you move it around. And we're going to save this image sequence. I suggest making another folder. I'm going to make this tutorial because I've already done this for the effect. I'm going to name this tutorial Bilbo. There. And then inside of here, I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to call this tutorial Bilbo, and then it's going to name it like tutorial Bilbo 1, tutorial Bilbo 2, or actually it's going to start at 0, and it's going to be 0, 1, 2, and we're going to have 0 to 7, which is 8 total images. So here they are right here. We now have 8 total images, and this is it in the Windows viewer. That is a full pulled out image. So there's a little bit of motion blur in them, and that's okay because we just want exactly the frame because we're duplicating that. So we're going to grab these, and we're going to move them into a software called Paint.net. You can also do this in GIMP. You can especially do this in Photoshop, and there's a way to do this in Vegas Image. But Paint.net is a good free editor that I know everybody could download if they wanted to do this. So that's where we're going to work with right now. So when you open paint.net, you're gonna it kind of opens up in a few different windows, and let me get Vegas pulled back up here. Here's the images. What we want to do is grab the 0 image and drag it over here, and then it's going to say, what would you like to do with this file? And I'm going to say, open the image. And so there we go. There's our first image. And then you can grab the second one. The 0001, that's the second image. Grab that, throw it on there, and then hit Add Layer. And then do it with the next one, Add Layer, and then do it with the next one, Add Layer, Add Layer, Add Layer, Add, oop, I opened it. Add Layer, and then last time, Add Layer. Okay, so now that we've got 8 of these frames all opened up in the same image, we can really start doing some neat things with this. I'm going to uncheck all of these. Just a quick thing about paint.net. This isn't a paint.net tutorial. Like I said, you can do this in any of the photo editor of your choice. But I do want to say that this selection and deselection is actually what layers, this is layer based, what layer you're ignoring and what layer you're looking at. And whether it's highlighted or not, it's what layer you're working on. And that's really all you need to know for this. So right now we have no layer selected. We're going to select the background layer, and I'm going to hit this button right here, which is Add New Layer. So however in your editor you need to add a new layer. So here, in this layer 9, I want to make sure that is selected. I want them both checked, but I want my layer 9 selected because I don't want to draw directly on the background. I want to draw with this extra layer here. I'm going to go to my colors. And the first thing I'm going to do is grab, I'm going to open this up, and I'm actually going to grab, I'm going to hit More, and I'm going to grab a gradient, something, a see-through white there. And I'm going to go to my paintbrush and get a little bit bigger of a, well, it's too big, of a paintbrush size. And we're also going to zoom in. Whoa, a little too much there. So once you're zoomed in, you can get something that's a little bit smaller than the area you're trying to coat, just a little bit, and color the white of your eyes whiter, the white of your subject's eyes a little whiter. And I know this isn't super realistic, and that's okay. What I'm trying to do is create something basic that everybody can do without making it something that nobody can do. Now, if you're like, well, what if I love doing image editing and I can actually like turn myself into a monster and make 8 separate really high detailed images of me turning myself into a monster? And the answer for that is that's great. That's exactly what you should do then. Take all the time you want on this. But for I'm trying to make something that's going to be approachable for everyone, and everybody's going to be at different skill sets at this, probably above average since you're a video editor, but different skill sets. So really, I'm just coloring my teeth and my eyes a little whiter. Now trust me, this will get better looking. Then we're going to grab a see-through black, and I'm going to just darken my whole eyes. Now, unselect the background layer, and you have like teeth and eyes. Go to Effects, Artistic. Every single one that I know of, every single image editor that I know of has some version of this effect. And you can do oil painting, and that's what I want. And I want it to be kind of coarse, big brush size. What this does is it gives it some texture and flattens out your mistakes and stuff to where you can actually have it fakes your quality of your drawing a little bit for you. And so once that's done, then let's look at it with the background again. See, it's a little bit more, pasteled, a little bit more intentional looking. And so that is, you can see with or without, that kind of definitely looks a bit freakier and a little bit more unsettling. And this isn't the final image you're going to see. We're actually going to composite this image with the other image. But like I said, this is the easiest way to do it. The more detail and freakiness you draw into your image of your subject, the freakier it'll be. This is the minimum, and that's what we're going to focus on teaching. So the next thing's pretty easy. You file, you save, go ahead and save your project so you have something to work on. The PND for PDN for paint.net is the paint.net file. And then you can file, save as, and then save it as another TIFF, and then save it as TIFF1. So I'm going to go new folder, tutorial, Bilbo. I want to know that this is different than the other one I did. And I'm going to name this one tutorial Bilbo. And hit OK. And flatten. And flatten's OK. That just means it's going to get rid of the layers. So now it's actually, after I've saved it, it's opened that up. I'm just going to hit Control Z. So it unopens that up. That's still saved. It just unopens up the new project and brings you back to the project you're originally working in. And then so I'm going to uncheck the background. I'm going to grab layer 9. I'm going to move layer 9 on top of the second picture and then check that. So you can see there's some motion and stuff. This is where it gets awesome. You can either A, redraw everything entirely, or B, just select the different sections, and this works in like all different photo editors. Whoops. If that happens, that what you mean to do is have layer 9 selected, not layer 9 particularly, but have your painting eyes layer selected. I had this layer selected. This layer needs to be selected so that doesn't happen. Grab your selection and then just select the area you want, and then you can just move it to your eyes. There you go. You can even kind of tilt it a little bit if you want to make it match. It's actually, I think, turned out a little bit better than my one that you're going to see in the beginning there. And then I'm going to tilt it down just a little bit. There you go. And so I don't really have to even redraw anything. I can go to the eraser and kind of erase any bleed over. You got to hit enter to get rid of your selection though, so that you can actually affect it. But you can actually kind of erase some bleed over on your eye there if you want. It just depends on how realistic you want this to look. And then there you go. Now you have your second step, and this is of the unsettling subject. And what you do is then you save this as an image, and I'm going to spare you it all because you're going to realize the pattern here. I'm going to save this as a TIFF in the same area, and then so this name this one 2, so that way you can keep them in order. And then boom, boom, boom. You've got 2 of your images, and then you hit Control Z again to go back to your regular project, and then so on and so forth. We're going to uncheck that, move this above this, check that, and then we can move the eyes, repaint it, whatever we need to do, so that way we can go frame by frame by frame and finish it. And so I'm going to finish this up. All right, so now that we've got all 8 painted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of paint.net and we're going to go back to our familiar stomping grounds of Vegas. So these 8 frames right here are the ones that we're going to have to replace. And to do that, all we have to do is go to Insert, Slideshow. All right, so we're going to hit Add Pictures, and we're going to go to where I've saved them with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in front. And I know those are my done ones. And then I'm going to hit Open. And it's going to bring... Well, first you got to highlight them all and hit open. And it's going to bring them in order into your little window here, and then go to settings. And you can hit start at cursor. Make sure your cursor starts exactly where you exported the frames from. And this doesn't exactly work as expected when it comes to making them all each one frame. Having something like 10 or 009 will get it close enough to a frame that you don't have much editing to do, which is why I'm using this tool. And this will just drop all of our images into the timeline end sequence right here at the cursor. And then we're going to hit create. Oh, make sure that your fade overlap is 0. Hit create, and then there you go. That should be just about a frame. And you can grab each one and scale back until it hits exactly a frame. And it won't take long to get them exactly one frame each. And that's for 30 frames a second. Obviously, if you filmed at a different frame rate, your numbers are going to be a little bit different there. Look at that. It snugly fits 1 frame each. Those are the H frames that we took right there. That fits snugly in our loop region that we pulled that from. And so now I'm going to arrow through, and you can see my painted over eyes. I'm a little bit more unsettling of a vampire creature all of a sudden. Like I said, the more detail, the better on this one. First, we want to fade this first one's opacity, because we don't want me to suddenly just have crazy eyes. If you fade my opacity a little bit, I just get a little bit crazy eyes right there. Boom, a little bit crazy. And then we can stair step it. And then here, I never want it perfectly there, because like I said, I just kind of scribbled. So I just want the scribbles to vaguely sit over it. So there, just some very subtle fades on the primary frames. Make sure you kind of have takes about 3 frames to ramp up into it, and then about 2 frames to ramp out of it. And you want your ramp out to be subtle as well. And so let's arrow through and see how that looks. See it, boom, 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 boom. And maybe this one not as subtle. There we go. So now let's watch it. If you ever want to make sure that you're seeing it exactly right, you can always selectively pre-render the video. If you grab it with your loop region, and then you can select really anything. This doesn't matter for your final project. I usually just like to select a simple 1080p MP4. It gives me a good idea of what it's going to look like on YouTube. And there I have a subtle, unsettling change about me. My eyes suddenly seem bigger, and my pupils seem dilated, and my teeth seem a little more fanged and prominent. But like I said, the best way is to do it exactly like Lord of the Rings did, but unless you want to make a big giant paper mache dummy for 6 or 8 days first, shopping your pictures, your frames is the next best way. And like I also said, the more detail you put into it, the better it's going to look. So mine, like I said, I just wanted my eyes to look wider, my pupils more dilated, but if you want your teeth to be more sharp looking, your eyes to be more evil looking, the more detail you put into it, the longer you can hold it too. So if I had this going for longer frames, it would start to look cartoonish. But since it's just a brief flash, it doesn't. It just is enough for your brain to register that something unsettling and different has happened, without necessarily letting the viewer see the simplicity of the effect. So thank you so much for watching. This was a butt of a tutorial to make, so I hope it helped you out, and I hope gives you some ideas for things you can do. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be getting back to the non-spooky stuff shortly. Happy Halloween. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, and this has been Adam with Tech Dive AV Club.